Okay, so welcome all on the Community Engineering Hangouts. Today we have pretty much good stuff. We have two interesting topics. The first one is about recently released site search, and the second one is related to some great performance improvement and how to deal with the big data in Magento. I believe we can start with the site search. So yeah, Annie and Priya, go ahead.
Thank you, Stas. Hi, everyone. I hope people can see my screen now.
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome, great. I'm going to put it in present mode here for the slides, and then we'll go over the demo tabs in a second here. So hi, we'll be talking about Live Search. As we already said, it's our SaaS-based AI alternative or improvement on the old Magento search. My name's Ani Hammond, and I'm presenting with Priya. Bhat, we're both engineers on the Live Search team, and we have slightly different focus areas. So between the two of us, we should hit all the high marks of Live Search today and beyond, I hope. About us, as I mentioned, Priya and I both work on Live Search and more broadly in the Adobe Commerce Data Services team. We've both been on Live Search, me since the beginning, about 18 months ago, and then Priya's been here for over a year, and through beta and through public beta and through GA, which is where we are today. We're going to talk today. I'm going to start with a high-level overview, and then Priya is going to do a deep dive into kind of the specifics of search in the storefront. She's going to show up some cool use cases and some comparisons between where we were and where we are now. And then I'll show off the admin side of things and ways for merchants to tweak and to improve their live search. And then we'll finish with some exciting details on roadmap items, and then, of course, Q&A. Live Search is a SaaS-based platform for storefront product search. Its intent is to improve and to modernize the experience of existing Magento search and kind of to remove the overhead that merchants experience managing their catalogs for search. It launched in GA at the end of June. It's available for merchants with commerce licenses and running Magento 2.4 and up. And so with this, I'll let Priya take over and show you guys what Live Search looks like today.
Thank you, Annie. I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I will just quickly walk through onboarding first. To onboard, a merchant will install the Live Search meta package using Composer, and then they would have to configure their API credentials. And the way we do it is here. They would just paste their API keys and private key, and this will generate 3 environments for them. If you are using Live Search in your staging environment, you would want to pick one of the testing environments, and if it's in production, you would pick the production environment. Once you've configured your API credentials, you are ready to go. Along with Live Search, you'll have some export extensions installed as dependencies. These export extensions are responsible for syncing data from your Magento instance to our backend SaaS services. It's mainly catalog data, attribute metadata, and things like that, which we will need to index your data into Elasticsearch. So once you have your API configured and you are all set with your data exported, you can disable your Elasticsearch modules. These are the core Elasticsearch modules in your Magento, so Elasticsearch, Elasticsearch 6, 7, etc. And once you have live search installed and ready, you can also disable, you can just stop your, you don't need to host your Elasticsearch service, you can stop it. So that is a little bit about onboarding. And once you have onboarded, you are ready to go. I mean, there are a few more things in the admin UI, which Ani will deep dive into once we look at the storefront. As far as the storefront goes, we have this popover. Basically, what we have done is in this search bar, we have injected a script and that makes a call to a React app hosted on the cloud and serves search results directly by connecting to our backend search service. So this does not go through Magento at all. I mean, does not go it for the pop-up part that we are going to look at. So let's take a look at some cool features with the popover. So let's say that you type red pants over here, you will see that the popover shows the thumbnails with red colored pants. And if you switch to green, you will see the green ones. So kind of from your configurable products, it pulls the correct image for you. So that's cool. And another thing that we have is search as you type. So for search as you type, the attributes that it's going to look at are the ones that are marked as use in search, yes. And also, if you look at the search weight, we do honor search weight when serving search results. So for example, over here, if you type fit, you will get fitness shorts and tanks, etc. But if you now change it to fitness and you add BA, it starts showing you results for fitness balls because that ends up being a better match. So it has a search as you type, so you only type BA, but it is looking at ball and band and giving you the most relevant results. Another thing over here, similarly, it would like look across categories. So if you type women capris or pants, then you see that it's looking at the category information also when it serves the search results. So that is also very relevancy-oriented search. Other than that, if you see the search terms have been highlighted over here, and we also offer suggestions over here. For example, if you type fitness equipment, it will show suggestion which can include category details. So sweatshirts, it will start showing you suggestions, whatever is most relevant. So that was a little bit about the popover. One thing that I'd like to add over here is that when you set attributes as use and search true, you don't want to include attributes that can be very verbose, like description, which can have HTML and a lot of description, because that might throw off the results that you get. For example, if in a t-shirt you have a description that says short sleeves, and if you search for short or shorts over here, it'll going to end up showing those t-shirts because it has short in the description and you've marked it as searchable. So just some clarification on how you could tune to get better, more relevant results. So that was something about the popover. Now going to the next thing is the category browse and search results. While what we were looking at over here, while all this as you type, while the requests directly go to our backend, but if you click on view all items or any of these suggestions, the request goes through. Let me look at the Luma theme one. So if you look at here, red pants, and you search, the request goes through what we call search adapter, which is nothing but we have a plugin for the Magento search interface. And this hits our backend instead of Magento's Elasticsearch modules. And we serve results from our backend. In addition to this, we have a JavaScript SDK available, which you can use to create your own implementation. So this is the SDK that that I'm referring to. You also have some API documentation to look at if you want to implement it. And as far as this is kind of our in-house implementation, not externally available. So if you search for red pants, again here we have in the swatch we show red pants only, whereas if you go to the default implementation, it does not do that. It will give you pants, but it will not show the correct swatch. So that's something that just showing how powerful it can be if you can use the SDK for the implementation. Another thing, this is another instance without live search installed, just to show some relevancy. If you search for, let's say, women's jackets over here, this is not live search. So you get a mix of women's and men's jacket. But if you use live search, you would just get women's jackets. So yeah, that was a little bit about relevancy and our implementation of the category browse and storefront popover. Ani, back to you.
Thank you, Priya. Apologies, I don't think I shared the right screen here. All right, hopefully everybody can see the search admin UI now.
Yes.
I'll start talking about the merchant experience and the ways that in which a merchant can improve on the search that Priya just showed even more through their configuration. Before I dive into these, just wanted to call out the fact that this UI is all using React Spectrum. Hopefully everybody has heard of Spectrum, but it's our open source React component library, and it's just a very clean and modern look and feel to the whole experience. So let's start over with facets. This first tab. So the way that these facets are configured, this could be any attribute on a product that is filterable, and the configuration informs our API of how the sidebar here with result filtering can be should be organized and what should be returned here. We have two types of facets. We have pinned facets, which always go on top. We have price and category here, and I think we saw these in some of the examples. And then we have dynamic facets, which to me personally, they're a lot more interesting. This kind of dives into intelligent facets, which is one of our AI features that is new about live search. So the way that intelligence facets work specifically is they are dynamic facets that, depending on the search results, return attributes that are that allow the shopper to most easily narrow down their results and actually arrive at whatever they're looking for. And so basically, depending on what you're searching, so for example, if you have something like pants, we have, of course, our pin facets, and then we have what our algorithm has determined are the things that are most likely to narrow down the shopper results to what they need. We have them ordered by style here, then size, then color, and then material. For something like bag, for example, the facets change, right? Here we've determined where the algorithm has that strap or handle and activity, and then material here at the bottom, and even one at the bottom is color. So again, they vary based on what we've determined is the best experience for the shopper. And they can be sorted by count, which is how we have defaulted most of them. So the results with the most the most results with this attribute will go on top and so on, but they can also be sorted alphabetically, and we can configure this through admin. Next tab is synonyms. There's two types of synonyms that we can cover, or that we can define. One is two-way, which means, in this case, for example, pants means trousers and trousers means pants. Each of those should result in the same recall set, possibly in a different order, but they are interchangeable. And then we have one-way synonyms. Here, this is somewhat of a fun example, but I just wanted to really illustrate what we're talking about here. We have a one-way synonym here defined that says pencil means pants. That doesn't mean that pens means pencil, but every time we search for pencil, we should find pants and not vice versa. So let's try these examples, trousers and pencil. If we search for just pants, we get 25 results and they're all pants. If we search for trousers, we get the same thing, 25 results. Now if we search for pencil, we get a couple more. We get actual pencils and then a bunch of pants that we have defined as a synonym for pencil. So that's the difference between one-way and two-way synonyms, and they work very neatly, I think. This next one, rules, is my personal favorite one, and I think the most powerful feature that we have here. This is a way for merchants to kind of manipulate the results based on query and not rely on us entirely. Let's open one of these rules and take a closer look. So this one says, if the search query is slacks, then boost this specific pant here, the Daria Bikram pant. There's a preview screen that shows us how the results are going to look, and that all works real time. So if we change it to something else, the preview shows us a different boost and so on. I'm not going to save this rule because I just wanted to show you guys how the results look here. So we know that slacks are synonyms of pants because we saw that in the previous screen. And now if we search for them, we should find the one that we had boosted. There's something that's off here. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but we should have seen the Daria pant on top, and usually that happens. Let's try the other rule. That's the one that pins the product to the bottom, so we don't want to see the Zeppelin yoga pant. We normally see it, but if the query contains trousers, we want to see it at the bottom. So let's demo here what happens if we search for trousers. That pair of pants is all the way to the bottom. And if we had just searched for pants like we normally do, it would have been way higher up here in slot 4. This is kind of the tip of the iceberg on what I think rules have the potential to do, and I'll cover a little bit more of that in our upcoming features slide, which is a few slides from here. Going over to the next tab, GraphQL. This is especially considering that many merchants are going with a headless implementation. This is a very nice way to kind of look and make sure that your configuration is correctly, that the headers that are being sent to our API requests are what you expect them to be, and that everything is indexed in our backend and results are being returned. Typing here a query, we get some query results here, and we can of course tweak this response to return more, whatever we need at the time. And now we have name and so on. The feedback tab, this one probably speaks for itself the most. We love it when people use this one. We want to see it used a lot. We appreciate any feedback. And then last here we have settings. For now, they're just price settings, but this is, in a sense, an extension of faceting in general. It determines how many price ranges are going to be showing up in our results, and it determines the interval value of them. So here we have 9 picked, and the interval value is 5, and we can see that the prices here and the ability to sort by prices in increments of 5, and there should be 9 that have been calculated for this. So this concludes the part of the demo that we had. A couple more things. We covered synonyms, we covered facets, GraphQL playground settings and feedback. And so going back to what I was talking about with rules, but with everything else as well, wanted to cover some upcoming features. One that's on the somewhat more near roadmap is performance dashboard. That's going to allow merchants a lot more insight into their search, how people are using their search, what are the most popular queries, what searches are not returning adequate results or zero-hit results. And then, of course, standard KPIs like conversion rate and other similar rates. Improvements to indexation. We've heard the feedback. We know that that there is some slowness there between when products are updated and when they're showing up in search correctly. We're working on this very hard, and the next iteration of Live Search is going to bring us even more to real time on picking up changes and everything else that's configured in the Magento instance. Advanced merchandising rules. Going back to rules again, this is my favorite one. As you guys saw, we're talking about we're only defining rules based on the query that a shopper enters. There's kind of a large set of possibilities there on adding to these rules based on what is returned, what we know about this shopper, what we know about people who search for these items or who have similar searches, and so on. So the rules that you guys saw today are only going to grow and allow more control there. And the last one is AI-powered synonym suggestions. This is some fun NLP work that we've done, that we've seen some very positive results on, and we're hoping to have something deliverable in the somewhat near future. How to contribute? Of course, we already mentioned the feedback tab, but community, Slack, Twitter, we love hearing all the opinions. We love to hear what we could do better, and what we are doing well so far. And that's it. I don't know if we're doing Q&A now or after the second presentation, but I'll leave this up to you, Stas.
Yeah, guys, do you have any questions? You also can ask questions in the chat. So yeah, feel free to put the messages here. So, okay, so if there is no questions, we can move to the next topic connected to some great performance improvements. So Vitalii, go ahead.
All right, just give me a second. All right, can you see my presentation?
Yep.
Nice. So today we're gonna talk about big cards. Right now we found that it's kind of limitation for Magento. So our main goal is to improve performance with a huge mini cards with up to 750 items in it. And to do that, obviously, it's really hard to do that with backward compatibility policies. So we are going to introduce a couple of modules, and we name it performance pack, and we're gonna review the result of this pack in this presentation. It's not gonna be a common demo with flows. Like, I'm not going to present how it works at this point because it's under development, but I'm really happy to share the very first numbers with the community. And because we're going to introduce these modules in this fall, you're just gonna need to wait until we're gonna update the Magento dev docs. So let's see. So I want to start with the improvements that we delivered to 2.4.3 release. We delivered two improvements. The first one is that we replaced the old monstrous then currency library with a PHP native number formatter library. So how we measure the results? Our main goal. So the in our measurement, we saw that most time-consuming operation is when Magento tries to apply the cart price rule to the items. So, for example, if we have 750 items in our cart and have, for example, 100 rules, Magento will going to apply like every rules to every product. And because from our standpoint, it doesn't make any sense from business perspective, so we measure this improvement with the option that calls discard subsequent rules, which means that only top priority rule is applied to every product. And let's see the improvement. So for the load cart section scenario, we've got improvement up to 300 milliseconds, which is good. And for open cart and checkout start, around 150 milliseconds. So no backward compatible things were introduced, just to replace the library and that's it, and we got the improvement. I want to remind that this is part of 2.4.3 release. Let's see the next one. So during profiling, we saw that we trying to load a lot of information about the products, and especially when we're trying to load the images of products. So we just like minimize the data that we are retrieving during open cart and checkout start and load cart section scenarios, and it gives, as you see, up to 350 milliseconds of improvement. It's also a part of 2.4.3 release. So if you're just gonna update your Magento instance, you're gonna be able to see the improvements with the card. And let's go. So the very first module of the performance pack for the cart optimization will be asynchronous operation for checkout. We just called it async order module. Nothing special there. So when you just trying to place order, it will put a message in the queue, and we introduce a new consumer that is going to work with this message. So there is no like the performance will be very fast, just because we are not going to process order until consumer works with it. So right now we can place order with 750 items within 100 milliseconds. And also we try to preserve some kind of validation right now, just for like billing address, shipping address, but still all the scenarios about for example, how we're gonna deal with an item that become out of stock when we process the orders. We're gonna publish this as a dev docs, and everything will be explained there. And there is currently a steps that works with a sync order module. So we work with every Magento payment method, except the payment method that is required as third-party redirect. Everything else is tested and works right now with this module. Also, we will introduce the additional module for GraphQL support, because as you know, currently the Luma theme is working through REST API endpoints, and we're also going to introduce a GraphQL support for it. So nothing to talk about it here. So we got the same improvements it's under development right now. The only thing that I would like to share is that we are not going to introduce the different consumers for GraphQL order message and for order message that came from REST API. So it will be the same consumer there. Next one is the quote storage, or we call it safe optimization. So what we did here, actually, on a quote table, we have a lot of rows. And right now we just eliminate all rows from the quote table. We just not eliminate, we just don't use it. And we use one additional row and we store just all information for quote in one row as a JSON data. Also, it's an intermediate step. In the future, probably we're gonna try it with a non-persistent storage. I mean, try to store quote in non-persistent storage like in sessions or Redis, and we'll see the difference in performance. But just for right now, we see a lot of benefits for it with a lot of scenarios. For example, like add to cart with 600 milliseconds improvement, and especially on a checkout steps like estimate shipping method with a 1700 milliseconds, and checkout bill shipping information with almost 3.5 seconds. So it's really good results. Also, in addition, it's gonna increase the throughput for the place order scenario. So we expect that it will significantly increase the amount of orders we can place within 1 hour. We still don't have numbers at this point, but we're gonna share it soon. And the next one is SalesRule optimizations. So we noticed that, as I was talking before, all these modules works with a discard subsequent rules options, but we noticed that we have a lot of clients that have like 10 rules, 12, 20 rules, and they have a very rare but valid business scenarios. So we're gonna introduce the deferred total calculating module, since the rule is applied when we try to calculate the total. So what we noticed when we run some test is that every time we trying to add the product, we are calculating the grand total, which actually means that we're trying to apply all the rules, shipping, taxes, billing, everything. But the thing is, when we try to add product to cart, we still might not have the shipping info, the billing info, and so on. So the calculated value is hard to use on the final checkout step. So for example, if we go to the very first checkout step on Oluma right now and fill the information and go to the second step, the total will be recalculated even without showing the actual total on the page. So what we did, we just deferred the calculating for the pages that actually required it. So right now, when we add product to cart, we will just calculate a base total, which is actually a sum of the product prices. And you can see a huge improvements here in some scenarios, like add bulk of simple products to cart, we have more than 50 seconds, like around 50 seconds improvement. And for the quick orders, it's more than 7 seconds. And for example, we're trying to test adding 750 products. So at first we add 375 simple products and then 375 configurable product. So 3.5 seconds and 8 seconds, it just looks great. And that's currently it. In addition, what I want to add here is that all this module will be a part of Magento Core starting from 2.4.4 next release. And starting from this fall, I don't have the date yet, you will be able to install it as separate composer packages. They will be work with each other, so you can install either the whole pack or just the modules that needed to your business. Yeah, I guess now that's it.
Okay, thank you, Vitalii. Do we have any questions on the improvements? Okay, if there is no questions, so that's pretty much it. Recording will be available on our YouTube channel soon. So thank you all for attending and see you on the next meeting.